ליהודים הייתה אורה, אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר. ליהודים הייתה אורה, אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר. כן, כן, כן תהיה לנו אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר. כן, כן, כן תהיה לנו אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר. כן, כן, כן תהיה לנו אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר. כן, כן, כן תהיה לנו אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר.
Hello everyone, a Shavua Tov. As we've entered the month of Adar, each day we're going to try to deal with Purim and a little tidbit from davening, Purim, and something that's oriented to it. So let's start right at the beginning. What is the dress code for Megillah reading? What should be the way we should come to Megillah reading? We have to divide this question into two parts. Number one, the davening that comes with Megillah reading. Usually we read Megillah at night after Ma'ariv, and we read the Megillah in the morning after Shachris. So by definition, you're coming to davening, and with it, you're going to hear Megillah. It's not Megillah being read separately. From this perspective, the regular laws of davening should apply. There's a pasuk in Amos that says, Hikon likrat malachecha Yisrael. You should get ready to approach the king, your God. Based on this, the Gemara in Meseches Shabbos, Daf Yud Amud Aleph, talks about the various rabbis and the way they would dress up for davening, all based on this verse. The Shulchan Aruch indeed paskins in Simon Tzadik Aleph Seif Aleph that if you happen to be wearing a bathing suit or even a long pants but you have no shirt on, you have to put on a shirt in order to cover your entire body for davening. And therefore, for davening per se on Purim, Ma'ariv and Shachris and Mincha, it is inappropriate to come with a costume that does not cover your entire body, or to be more precise, that's not befit to approach a king. In other words, you have to come dressed appropriately for davening. Your costume is wonderful. It should be worn when you give out shalach manas. It could be worn at the Purim party, but not for davening itself. More than that, the Ramah brings a minhag from the Maharil. Yesh nahagu, shenahagu, there are some that have the minhag, lilvosh bigdei Shabbos v'yantiv bepurim v'chein nachon, to wear Shabbos and Yantiv clothing on Purim, and that indeed is correct. In other words, not just to dress up appropriately for davening as you would on a weekday, but says the Ramah, you should actually wear your Shabbos Yantiv clothing for Purim. So putting these two together, dress at the very least as you do to befit a king all week, like you do for davening all week, and perhaps even more so because it's Purim, you should wear Shabbos Yantiv clothing. So, that would be with regard to Ma'ariv and Shachris and Mincha. But what about the Megillah reading per se? Perhaps we could say that during the Megillah reading you can put on your costume. It seems to me that the answer to that is no. Because when the Gemara deals with the takana, the enactment of reading the Megillah, it brings two psukim that talk about it. And it talks about reading the Megillah at night and during the day. And both psukim are very davening oriented. Elokai, ikra alecha yomam, ikra yomam velo ta'aneh. I call out to you during the day and you don't answer. Velayla velo dum yali, and therefore I'll call out to you at night and hopefully you will not be quiet. And then the Gemara quotes another source that we say every day in the Pesukei de Zimra, Lema'an yezamercha chavod velo yidom Hashem Elokai le'olam odeka. A beautiful verse that says, I'm going to sing out to you, God, with great respect and not be quiet. Namely, I'm going to read the Megillah both at night and during the day. Both these psukim have davening connected to it. Maybe one is talking about davening from a place of great stress. Elokai ekra alecha yomam, I call out to you during the day and you don't answer me. And the other is talking about praising God. Whatever it might be, they're both very davening oriented. And therefore, it's hard for me to believe that the Megillah reading doesn't take on the properties of davening. More than that, one of the three reasons why we don't say Hallel on Purim is that the Megillah reading is in place of Hallel. How would you dress up to say Hallel? Would you put on this banana suit costume, or would you dress up in an appropriate garb? And therefore, because of all these reasons, Number 1, the general rules of how to come dressed appropriately to davening. Number 2, the minhag brought in the Ramah that you're supposed to wear Shabbos Yontif clothing on Purim. And number 3, the Megillah reading itself, which seems to take on a form of davening, either like a Hallel or like a davening. I believe that you indeed should come to Megillah reading dressed properly. After Megillah reading, giving out Shalach Manos, at your Seudah, whatever it might be, put on your costume, but not during Megillah reading per se. Obviously, I'm not talking about small children. I'm talking about people above the age of bar mitzvah. And allow me to end with a story from Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky. Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, who died in 1986, was known as the Kluger Yid, namely a very smart and perceptive and bright Jew, huge Talmid Chacham, one of the Gdolei Yisrael, and knew how to say things succinctly when they needed to be said, even if they were reprimand. So in the book that came out from Art Scroll called Reb Yaakov on page 272, the following story is said. One Purim, someone came to daven mincha and based tefillah in Monsey dressed in a clown suit. Reb Yaakov walked over to the hapless individual, looked him up and down slowly 3 times, and remarked, there seems to be something lacking here in the mitzvah of hichon, namely the mitzvah of getting ready to daven before God, Hikol Nikrat Malachecha Yisrael, that we quoted. I don't think I need to say any more. God willing, we'll come to Megillah reading, we'll be very happy, and we'll come dressed appropriately for Ma'ariv, for Shachris, for Mincha, and for Megillah reading. God willing, afterwards, we'll put on our costumes and be able to fulfill even that custom. Amen.